This one starts with a name, but I'm gonna leave the name out of this one just for safety's sake. It is a lady. It says, "Dear Lord Klavan, love your show. I listen every day and especially enjoy laughing my bum off at your opening monologues. Here's the situation. My husband and I are both Christians and have been married for nearly 18 years. He is charming, extremely bright, funny, loving, and abusive. He attacked me several times when we were dating and first married, but then not again for about 15 years until a recent attack that left my face, neck, and arm bruised. The verbal and emotional abuse has been throughout the marriage, but lessened in frequency and intensity again until this last year. I have made it very clear that I think he has an abusive pattern he needs to address, and I will leave if he physically attacks me. My husband feels terrible at anything he has done and has hurt me. He promises he will do whatever he has to be a better man for me. I believe he's sincere in this, although he's been to a few sessions of therapy, and he has told me he just doesn't see the need for it. He understands what he needs to change and thinks he has a handle on it. That being said, he continues to defend himself when I call attention to controlling, manipulative, or coercive behaviors. As a matter of fact, he doesn't just defend himself, he blames me, telling me that I am narrowing the field of acceptable behaviors from him. He has to walk on eggshells. I am no longer as accepting and available as I used to be, and on it goes. I've been praying incessantly, going to therapy, and struggling immensely with what I need to do. I feel hurt and betrayed by my husband. I feel so sad and disappointed with myself for allowing the abuse to go on as long as it has. I'm wondering if it's time to leave, but feel incredibly guilty as a Christian, and that my husband is going to be so hurt if I do. Any words of wisdom are much appreciated." So I read a lot of this letter. I sometimes just read a bit, but I wanted to read a lot of it because I want to address it at length. I think it's an important letter, and I get a lot like it. First, let me address the Christian part of this. Your God, who is King of the universe, did not create you, his daughter, to be beaten. That is not why he made you. That is not his purpose for you. He made you to be loved and to love and to create and to make homes and to make a world for yourself and for others. He did not make you to be a punching bag. That is not a Christian marriage. The whole point of Christian marriage is it means a man and a woman become one flesh. Your husband, when he hits you and even when he abuses you, is not treating you as his own flesh. He is not treating you as as if you're in a marriage, a Christian marriage. While I want to be clear that I am deeply, deeply opposed to divorce, especially where children are involved. I do believe that opposition is trumped by what they call the 3 A's, abuse, adultery, and addiction. And addiction takes people's souls away and ends the marriage in that way. Adultery, of course, if you make a slip, that's something each couple has to deal with on their own. But if adultery is a constant factor in a marriage, it's not a real marriage anyway. And the same thing is true here. If you're being beaten, you are not in a marriage. Now, this is the thing, and I have to try and say this as clearly as I can. There are 2 aspects to this. If you want to talk about the moral aspect, your husband is to blame. He is at fault. He is hitting somebody who is smaller than him. He may think or feel that he can't control himself, but that's nonsense. He's not hitting a cop. He's not hitting his boss at work. He's hitting you because he can. And so he can control himself. He does control himself when he's talking to a 6'4" cop. He just doesn't control himself when he's talking to a 5'1" woman. So he is completely in the wrong in terms of the morality of it. But let's think past the morality for just a minute and just think about a practical, realistic description. Abuse in a marriage is like an engine. It's like a machine. And the abused person is part of that machine. That doesn't mean you're to blame. I'm not blaming the victim. But it's like a satanic engine. Like the devil loves to build these machines where even the victim becomes part of that machine. You see this in racism. I've talked about this before. White people are cruel and exclusionary to blacks. Blacks get so angry that they begin talking about whites in racist terms. You hear it on TV. Oh, here's a white woman is voted this way. White men, the problem is white men. The devil doesn't care. The devil doesn't care who the racists are. He doesn't care. He's happy. He's happy as long as we're hating each other on racial bounds. The devil is drinking champagne, right? It's an engine. It's a machine. And once you're caught up in the machine, once you accept the logic of the machine, you become part of the machine. In the machine of marital abuse, it goes in this cycle, just like machines have gears. It goes in this cycle. He's lovely. He's charming. He loses his temper. He hurts you. Then he's so nice because he feels so bad, and it'll never happen again. And oh my God, he's crying. He feels so bad for him. And then the cycle just starts up again. And you become part of that machine by expecting it to change, by thinking this time he's going to be different. And worst of all, and this is truly satanic, you start to feel that you deserve it, that you have some control over it. Like, what am I doing? That if I could just do this better, he wouldn't lose his temper. If I could just be nicer to him, he wouldn't hurt me. And that's all part of the machine. The machine is taking over the machine. The marriage is becoming the machine. I think that you have got to get out. I mean, I think if you are in a marriage where a guy has repeatedly hit you, and not just some kind of accidental event, where he is completely, constantly wearing you down and tearing you down, that is not a marriage, and you have to go. You can't, I don't know if you don't mention whether you have children. You cannot allow children to experience their mom getting beaten up, and even to have them experience their mom being constantly abused and demeaned is not a good thing for the children. It's a terrible, terrible thing for the children. He is not, it is possible that he could go into a program and beat this thing, but as long as he thinks, oh, I know what is needed, like the alcoholic who thinks, oh, I can handle this myself, as long as he thinks I know what is needed, he can't. He can't. And it's just part of the machine. And what I worry about is that you will become part of that machine until it becomes genuinely dangerous. I mean, you can get killed. You can get really badly hurt. I think you've got to break this. I think you got to go. I think you got to go. That's my personal opinion. I think you got to go because I don't think he's in any way breaking this machine, and you have become part of the system. I'm not blaming you. You're not culpable. It's not your fault, but you have become part of this engine that is bigger than the both of you, and you need to basically dislodge yourself. You shouldn't be a piece of that equipment. Sorry to say that. I'm terribly, terribly sorry it's happening. I think you can tell what my feelings are about this in my voice, but I think I can't reach out and solve the problem. I wish I could.